It's secret golf. It's what I'm looking for. It's why I get up every morning, call my good time of friends. Keeps me coming back for more. It's secret golf. We're headed down the road. We just loaded up a big show. Going looking for the heart and soul. Rolling till the wheels fall off. It's secret golf. Shh. It's a secret.
It's Secret Golf with Elk and Knoxy, the podcast. Hi, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for subscribing as well if you have. If you haven't, then you can do so on iTunes. All you have to do is search for Secret Golf and click subscribe, or however else you listen to your podcasts, you can do it that way too. Now, we have a jam-packed podcast today, a lot coming up. We're going to have some fun with some stuff too. On the PGA Tour, it's the week of the Zurich Classic at TPC Louisiana. Now, Elk and I are going to be talking about that soon for a few reasons. First of all, Elk was one of the designers and helped Pete Dye build the course. So he'll be giving us a real insight into that and how it's going to play this week. And also with the Zurich Classic being a team event, the only team event on the PGA Tour season, we're going to be looking at that, some of the pairings, especially from our secret golfers. And this year, for the first time at any PGA Tour event, the players have been asked to pick walk-up music for the weekend. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later as well. Now, we have to start with the biggest news and, of course, celebrate Andrew Landry. Andrew Landry is now the Valero Texas Open champion. He won at the weekend and we were so happy for him. His maiden victory in his 32nd tour start, and he played incredibly. Only player in the field to break 70 on all 4 days. He's 30 years old. He's a Texas native, lives in Austin, like about an hour from TPC San Antonio. He went to University of Arkansas and was a 3-time All-American. Now, Andrew Landry's had a few moments in his golf career so far that probably really have driven him to this win. For example, in 2009, the NCAA Championships, he just lost out to Bronson Burgoon, another one of our secret golf guys. The 2016 US Open at Oakmont, on the Sunday, he was in the final group. Dustin Johnson went on to win after Andrew Landry shot a 78 in the final round. But, you know, to be up there for those 3 days was absolutely huge for him. And before last week, he'd already had 3 top 5 finishes this season, including a second place finish when he lost to John Ram at the Career Builder in a playoff. So there's been a lot going on for Andrew Landry, amounting to this win. But, you know, that feeling to get your first win on tour has to be one of the best ever. Now, after celebrating the win on Sunday with his family, especially wife Elizabeth and their 1-month-old son, Brooks, Andrew got a little bit of time at home on Monday before flying to New Orleans yesterday. He had some delays with flights, but I caught up with Andrew from the airport. Andrew, congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's been quite the last 24 to 48 hours have been pretty crazy. So I'm looking forward to getting to New Orleans this week and playing some good golf.
Now, you're on your way right now. You've had delays with flights and everything, but, you know, I'm guessing it might be quite good for you to sit down and have a little bit of quiet time. I'm sure there hasn't been a lot of quiet time over the past few days.
Yeah, you're right. It definitely hasn't been quiet. Yesterday I came home and just kept the baby for most of the day and just did some laundry and hung around the house and just relaxed and had an early morning this morning.
Amazing. So Elk's on the line as well. Elk, you have to be extremely proud of Secret Golf's Andrew, of course, having his first ever victory on the PGA Tour.
Oh, I certainly was. I watched him play Saturday and Sunday on TV. And Andrew, did you look at the bank account to see if it jumped in there? I know I did on my first win.
Not yet. Not until tomorrow. I think they come in on Wednesday morning, so we'll take a peek at it tomorrow.
Yes.
I like seeing that peak, you know, when you go on your phone and see that deposit, right? I love that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's definitely nice, and it's definitely nice to see all those points up there too. So that's the most important part. And getting to the tour championship has been a goal of mine, and we're almost there, and we're just gonna just keep pinning those ears back and trying to get as many points as I can.
There's a lot of things to talk about, of course. A lot of people don't know Andrew Landry as well as we do. People may be familiar with that he was in the final group of the U.S. Open that Dustin Johnson won. Pretty good player, went to be number one in the world, and then you got beat there, and then you got beat at the Career Builders by John Rahm, who's now the number 3 player in the world. So you've had an interesting start to your career. It's only your 32nd start. You have your first win. Chuck Cook, who's your instructor, who's one of our contributing coaches at Secret Golf. Of course, Jason Duffner was the one that, for people that don't know how you join Secret Golf as a tour player, you have to be recommended by another tour player. And Jason Duffner told me about 6 months ago that I want you to sign this kid named Andrew Landry. He works with Chuck, and he makes that ball do what he wants to. What was it like? I have a specific question. You had your mom and dad there. You had your brother. You had your wife. Your son saw you win the first time. You're from Texas. You grew up in Texas. You won the Texas Open. Try to walk us through the family, Chuck. What does all this coming together mean?
It's really unbelievable, to be honest with you. Just from having Chuck there on Tuesday, and we had a rough practice round because the winds were blowing 40 miles an hour, and we could only play 9 holes because it was just not even doing us any good by being out on the golf course. The wind was blowing so hard. Wednesday went and drove back home, and Wednesday came back up, and I was on my way up and just thinking about the back 9, how I needed to go look at it. So Terry and I walked around, but on top of that, we talked about some different iron shafts and stuff going in to that week, and talked to the ping rep, and he got some stuff built up for me to try. But just having my mom, my dad, my brother, my wife, my new son there for the first win is beyond special, and to do it with a mentor, a friend like Zach Johnson, to be able to do that with him, it's incredible. I mean, it truly is incredible.
A lot of people think that you have a similar game to Zach Johnson. I'm assuming that's a compliment. You're similar size, and you both control your ball really well, low ball flight, etc. You mentioned there a second ago about the irons. It's very rare for someone to change their irons, and it sounds like you did indeed change your iron shafts. That's a big move. What were you looking for, and what paid off for you?
We were looking for a little bit more launch and a little bit more spin, and the KBS shafts I've played for 4 years now, and they've been outstanding. But I just honestly thought that there was something out there that was a little bit better for me. I was just looking for a little bit more spin. I couldn't control the long irons coming into the greens. I couldn't control the spin on them. They were just bouncing too much, and I didn't have enough height on them to get them to stop on firmer greens. So that was something that we've always kind of been looking for in the irons. And as soon as I hit the first shot with a 7-iron, I immediately knew that those were the ones. And it came out at a window that I immediately looked up and just completely dumbfounded. I couldn't believe how much of a change it was immediately. So, I mean, we added a degree of loft to my 4, 5, 6, 7-iron, which added some bounce to it. And then we added a half degree from 8 down the wedge, and kept the 3-iron the same and added a little bit of bounce to it. And I was able to just squash the ball right on top of it, hit down as hard as I want. They just pop right up in the air.
So that's so interesting from a golfer's perspective. They're going to be fascinated by what you've just said there. Most golfers are trying to get less spin and, launch the ball. In this case, you wanted a little bit more spin. It's very, very personal, of course, very custom, because you were kind of a low hitter, and as you were saying, the spin was not enough spin. So you needed, people would say, well, that's shorter, and then you weakened your clubs. But I'm assuming because of the way you swing, you could beat down on them harder and knock them down and hit. Did you lose any distance, or you just picked up the height?
I did not. I picked up height and I picked up spin, and I never lost distance. Especially with the long irons, when you add some loft to them, they're going to stay in the air a little bit longer. So you might not lose distance. And to be honest with you, you might gain a little bit of distance if you kind of weaken them a little bit, and just to get them up in the air. If you are a low ball hitter, and it's definitely something that I would definitely recommend. I can't believe it's taken me this long to figure this out, to be honest with you, and I'm just super happy that Ping got me right where I needed to be, and putting those shafts in play on Wednesday afternoon and never even touching the practice round with them, I had full belief in myself that that was a game changer.
Wow, that's a great story.
Andrew, I mean, you played solid all week and you were right up all week. Only player in the field to break 70 in all 4 rounds. You had the fewest bogeys of anyone throughout the course of the week, only 4 bogeys. So, I mean, you must have been feeling good, especially heading into Sunday. When you made the turn on Sunday, how were you feeling there? How do you deal with that pressure, knowing you have 9 holes left to play and this could be your trophy for the taking?
I played really good on the front 9. I shot 4 under, and I just wanted to get off to a better start. I didn't hit number 10 fairway all week, and that was one that I was really focused on to try to get up there and put a good tee shot down the left side there, because it's such a hard fairway to hit. Mm-hmm. And I ended up hitting it, I think, like 370. I just put such an aggressive swing on it, and flipped a lob wedge in there to 10 feet or so and made that one. And after that hole, it definitely relieved me a little bit to extend my lead a little bit more and to keep it going. And I know Trey birdied that hole as well, so that was kind of a big moment there to just keep the momentum going in my direction. And 4 bogeys for the week out there. I mean, nothing against the golf course, but it was definitely around the greens was very, very difficult, because the overseed didn't come in all the way, and the Bermuda was coming out, and it was just real soft and very hard to chip off of. And I mean, you could have probably, if you would have seen a number of shots like Trey hit on 17 in the final round. You would have seen a lot of those this week, and I was just fortunate enough to hit enough greens and leave myself in situations where I didn't have to really chip that much off of that.
Yeah. I mean, you beat Trey Mullinax by 2 shots. Trey is known for being the longest hitter on tour. You've got him kind of chasing you a bit. How did that spur you on Sunday?
Yeah. Having his length is obviously huge for 17 and 18. Both those holes suit him very, very well, because he can easily get to the green on 17, and if he hits a really good one on 18, he could definitely get there, as you've seen in round 3 whenever he made eagle on the last hole to shoot a course record. So he's definitely got the firepower to get there in 2 and drive the green on 17. And who knows what could have happened there, and if he would have knocked it on the green and made birdie and put some pressure on me. But I was just very fortunate the way that it turned out. Mm-hmm. I just continued to stick to my game plan with laying it up to a good distance, and I was just a couple feet away from that ball releasing down to the hole on 17 after that wedge shot. I mean, I hit it right where I wanted to. It just came up a couple yards short. So, but yeah, with his firepower, it's pretty special to watch, and obviously very fortunate to get that win.
I have a question, Andrew. I watched it, of course, and I'm fortunate enough to know what it's like in that last group there. It got really tight. It got really tight, and you and I have already spoken about this, but I want to go through it a little bit. Your ball started, as you already noted, you only had 4 bogeys, which is pretty unreal, because there's a lot of holes that the ball just drifts off the green and funnels away down over the edge, like it did for you at 13, where you hit a great long iron shot, and then it's hard to make 3 from there. And you missed a short putt at bogey at 11, missed a short birdie putt at 12 and 13, missed the green on the edge at 14, 15. I mean, things were not honky-dory. Is that correct?
Yeah, they were. It was not. I'll tell you what. I missed the putt on 12, and the putt on 13 for par was a huge momentum changer that just kept it going. And then the par 5, 14, missing that one was just straight, complete lack of focus and just getting mentally drained at that moment. And after I missed that, I just put a little fire under my you-know-what and said, let's go get this thing done and quit messing around. And I had one slip away from me at Career Boulder. Didn't slip away from me, but, I definitely had an opportunity to close it out on the second playoff hole and didn't get it done with that one putt. And I was just very fortunate that, I could put myself in that same kind of range on the 18th hole this last week and be able to make it, capture a win. That was very special.
Yeah, we see the physical stuff going on the TV, but there's way more going on in your head, right? There's micro adjustments. Yeah. There's, for example, on 18, you laid up, you did a nice layup, but now you don't want to spin it off, so you got to play it left. There's so much going on in your head, I'm sure, right? And what was that like inside your head?
For sure. I definitely never felt any adrenaline until the third shot on 18. Once I hit the tee shot, it was kind of a sigh of relief because I knew that I could get it in a good spot. I hit it down far enough to where I could just hit it like a 5-iron down the fairway, and I hit it to a good spot and hit it to a good number. And I just had so much adrenaline going that I smoked that thing with a lob wedge. I just chipped that thing down, and it flew way too far. And I was definitely not trying to hit it back there. I was in total control of my ball, and that was just straight adrenaline. It was crazy to see, and it's fun to know that that's there, and I'll definitely learn from that.
Yeah, exactly. I told a story before, Andrew. You'll be able to relate to this. When I was winning at the PGA, I hit a 7-iron on the last hole of the PGA, and I went back to recreate that, a year later, and I couldn't get to the green with a 4-iron. That's how much adrenaline was in there. I was like, I can't get the ball to the green.
I believe it.
Andrew, you were talking about the fact that one of your goals for the year was to get to the Tour Championship. Right now, this win puts you 9th in the FedEx Cup rankings, so you're in a good position. Did your dad used to work for FedEx?
Yes, he still does.
Oh, he still does?
He's most likely going to retire after next year or the following year. Not really too sure, but he's definitely about getting the age of retirement, and he wants to come and follow me around a little bit.
Good.
So it'll be nice to have him out and around, and both my parents for that matter.
Yeah, well, we saw them on the 18th green celebrating, and your brother Adam was in tears. I take it you guys are super close, and this win must mean the world to him too.
Yeah, it does. He's been a big role model in my life, and he has been he's kept me extremely motivated and pushed me to new levels, and he's just a good brother and a good friend, and it was very, very bittersweet to be able to experience that with him.
And of course, Elizabeth, your wife, was there with your baby son. We've got to talk about him. Brooks, he's only 1 month old. And, as you say, yesterday he spent the day kind of chilling out at home. It's going to be amazing in years to come that you can say that he was there for your first ever win on the PGA Tour.
I know, it's so cool. And, it almost brings me to tears every time I think about it.
He's going to want to be in another picture when he's bigger. That's what he's going to want. I'm telling you that right now.
No doubt.
So Andrew, tell us now, there's a lot of things come with a win. Of course, none bigger than the trophy that you got on Sunday. But what jumps to you right out of the gate that the win got you? Is it the security of the 2 years, the Masters? You said it. There it is. Go ahead.
The Masters is it. I've always dreamed about playing it. And the job security for 2 years is obviously absolutely huge. To be able to just go out and just enjoy what I'm doing for 2 years. I've fought so hard and so long over the last, since 2010, to get where I could be in this exact situation. it makes it very, very special.
A lot of people don't realize that, when you have a 2-year exemption, yes, of course, that means you can't get knocked off tour, but you could get injured doing anything, and you could, miss 2 months on tour and actually lose your job, lose your card and everything. So what I always thought, Andrew, is that, if something does happen in your life, then having that, being a winner and getting the exempt status, it gives you so much insurance just other than just being relaxed on tour. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, absolutely. That's a huge benefit of being a winner, and it's crazy to think that I've accomplished one of my long-term dreams.
Now, as you said, you're on your way to New Orleans right now. It's the Zurich Classic, which of course is the team event. You're playing with Taylor Gooch. How did your partnership come about that the two of you were going to be teammates?
We played a lot last year on the Web.com tours, and we spoke a little bit at the Sanderson Farms this year, and he asked me, he was like, hey man, I think that we would be a good match for the Zurich. I have so much belief in his game, and he's got so much belief in mine, and we're really good buddies. We have the same agent, and we have a lot of similarities, and we just get along, and he's just an easygoing guy, and I felt like, why not? This is a great opportunity for both of us to just go out and show our games to the world.
After last week, obviously, you're still on a total high, and Taylor's going to be feeling great knowing that you won last week. But how are you feeling about the team format of the Zurich this week? Obviously, it's completely different to what you've had recently.
Yeah. Obviously, it's no FedEx Cup points this week, but it's just it's a perfect week to play after a win because you're pretty tired. It's just a perfect week to play because it's going to be fun, and it's not going to be super grind, and we're obviously going to be out there trying to win, but it's definitely going to be an easier format than playing 72-hole stroke play event. So I'm looking forward to it.
Keep away from those bars down there on Bourbon Street and all those beads, huh? We don't need you.
Right?
I wanted to tell a story. Yeah, I wanted to tell a story about Andrew and I were together a couple months ago down at the Floridian tournament, and Diane's going to put this picture up on her vlog. You and I wanted to go fishing. We'd played golf down there for a couple of days together, and we wanted to go fishing, and all we had was these little toy rods. They were little baby rods that we had in the bus, and I finished up hooking this huge fish, and I couldn't get it in with my little baby rod, so I had to run down the bank, and Andrew had to go in the water and pull this monster fish out with his hands. But hey, mate, we got it in, didn't we?
We did. Why are you calling that thing a bus? It's a camper.
Yeah, it's a camper. It's a big camper. That's correct.
He always calls it the bus, Andrew.
Yeah, well, they know that pisses me off when they call it a camper. It pisses me off because that's why he did that. But we're going to put that fish up. It was a monster fish, wasn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, it was. That thing was huge. Had to have been 7 pounds or so, 6-7 pounds.
It had to be, yeah. So, golfers have a tendency to want to go fishing and hang out together. I know Andrew had 11 birdies that day when we played golf together at the Floridian and took all of our cash, but that's okay. We're happy to have him on our team. Listen, Andrew, we're so proud of you at Secret Golf. That's our 16th victory of our Secret Golf players. We feel like there's a reason that they always win when they come on our staff and they start talking to all these other great players in the group and feel a little unity. But good luck this week, mate. Congrats with the baby, wife, brother, mom and dad. It's just, mate, the sky's the limit for you this year.
Thanks, Elk. I really appreciate it. Appreciate all the words that you spoke to me for Sunday's round, and definitely helped out a lot. And, appreciate all you do, and appreciate Secret Golf for always being there for me and supporting me.
Okay,
Perfect.
Andrew. Good luck, mate. We'll let you drop out. I'm going to finish off with Diane. Good luck, mate. I'll text with you when you lead the first round.
All right, buddy. Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Andrew.
Later.
Nice to talk to you.
Thank
Later.
you.
Bye.
Absolutely nice talking to you. Bye.
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 Oh, perfect. That was so good.
Yeah,
He's
that was
excellent. Good. That was lovely. I liked when he said that he could cry just thinking about having his son there. You could tell that he's so overcome with the emotion.
Oh, I know. All dads are like that when they're little babies.
Oh.
That's when they play the best golf, because they're so focused on the other stuff you don't think about all yourself anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So this week on the PGA Tour, it's the Zurich Classic of New Orleans at TPC Louisiana. It's the second year of the team format for this. So teams of two, round 1 and round 3, it's a best ball. Round 2 and 4, it's alternate shot. But it's a fun tournament. And we spoke to Andrew Landry, and he said, after the win and after the seriousness of last week, he's feeling a little bit tired. He's excited for the fun of this week. Now, I've got Elk here right now because TPC Louisiana, Elk actually helped build and design that course with Pete Dye. So no one knows it better than you.
Well, that's true. I think the course is a really nice course. It's as you know, I suppose you know, Louisiana is a very unusual place to build a golf course because the sea level is below. The town is below sea level. So when we built that course, the first thing they had to do, Diane, was to build a moat around the golf course so that and make it lower than the golf course so it would drain. Once we got that and we started to build, it was just, it's just I can't tell you how hard it was to be in that environment and trying to, everything sinks down there. They bury people above the ground in the cemeteries because everything sinks, and it's just all this engineering had to take place. And I don't want to say I was skeptical about doing a job with Pete Dye, but my goodness, when I finished that job, I had so much respect for Pete Dye because everything that he built that you can't see, the engineering, the way he built the infrastructure underneath the ground, that it would support that golf course, I have a complete and absolute reverence for Pete Dye and what he does, the way he builds a golf course.
Wow.
Now, my job, Diane, was to help design the back nine and to help make sure that there was some good strategy for tour players as they played the course, and make sure the shot values and the wind direction and all that was going to be great for us. So one job that I had to go down there, I was going to go down there and look at the back nine. Pete was going to look at the front nine. Then we're going to meet and have a powwow and decide what we're going to do. Well, on this one trip, I went down to the 17th hole and I was out there on the back nine early. And I got to the 17th hole, and it didn't look right. The 17th is a long par 3. The green is sort of wrapped around a lake, and the wind comes off the right. And if you hit a really nice shot up in the air, the wind will actually help it curve along the shape of the green, and the players can get their ball in there. Well, the green was in the wrong position. Somehow the shaper did it wrong. Anyway, at lunch that day, Pete said, "Have you got any questions or any observations about the back nine?" And I said, "Yeah, I think number 17. We've got to go out to there. It's not going to work." He said, "What's wrong with it?" I said, "Well, it's just you can't. The ball won't go on the green." And he goes, "Okay, let's go out there." So we all go out there, and I'm standing on the tee, and Kelly Gibson, my friend who also helped us do the design work there, who's a local boy, and all the tour staff was there, and Pete Dye was standing on the tee. He took a walk down about 50 yards down. There was a big lake there, and the green was off in the distance about 220, and he just stood there about 15 minutes, and he came back, and he said, "Mr. Elkinen's correct." He says, "We need to move the lake."
Wow.
So they had to bulldoze the lake and fill it back in and move it over. So it was the most unusual comment I've ever heard from anyone. I thought he'd move the green. I thought he'd move the tee. I thought he'd move the fairway. But no, he moved the lake. It was so funny.
That's funny. So what would you say is your favorite hole on the course?
Well, I like number 18 because we built 18 as kind of a risk-reward, and it's going to work well with this format. If it's a par 5 that's reachable in 2, but it has bunkers up the left side. Now, if you try to sneak it down the right side, right down the water's edge, you get into a little slot there that we made, and you can indeed reach the green in 2. If you don't do that, and you go to the left off the tee, then we put some fairway bunkers down there about 150 yards short of the green, so we make you lay up so you have a longer third shot. So it's perfect for this format. And last year they had a playoff and all that, and it didn't really work. The 18th well because the wind was in instead of down, but nonetheless, 18 is a big. We were trying to bring in a 3 and a 7, so we wanted to have four shots swing.
Okay, good. And what would you say for the players this week is going to be the toughest hole on the course?
Well, there's a few holes on the front 9 that are tough. Depends which way the wind blows, but this format, Diane, I think they play an alternate shot where you only play one ball between two guys. So that's always stressful for tour players because, if your partner, for example, doesn't hit a good tee shot, now you're off over to the side and you hit the iron. It's just can be a bit of a uncomfortable format. It's always decided, though, whoever does the best in the alternate shot, they're the ones that are probably going to win the tournament because they get ahead. And then the other guys can't catch them.
How do you feel about this tournament? Because this is the second year of it. The Zurich Classic has been there before, but this is the second year that they've actually made it this kind of like team format. What do you think about that being like an event on tour?
I can only go by what the players think, and they're excited about it. I like the way that they're doing it, where you get to invite your partner. There's a lot of kids. There's a lot of people that aren't on the tour that are getting invited to this. Get a chance for some exposure and maybe make a check good enough to be able to advance their way up the line. Mm-hmm. That being said, that leaves a lot of the other tour players that have their tour cards that don't get in. So, we've got some pretty exciting pairings for Secret Golf. We got Jason Duffner playing with Pat Perez.
I love this.
That's like a WWE wrestling match. I mean, those two guys.
Oh, when I saw they were playing together, I thought, this is going to be perfect. We're going to have so much to talk about with these two guys.
I think it's interesting, Diane, the way the guys. I remember last year, for example. Do you remember last year when Ryan Palmer, Secret Golf's Ryan Palmer, played with Jordan Spieth, and the media was asking, well, why is Jordan playing with? Why are they friends? What are they doing? And the media obviously has zero idea of what it's like for the tour players behind when they go home, right? Who they're friends with, who they hang out with, and the different things they like, but. I think there's some intriguing matchups. Jordan Spieth with Ryan Palmer's perfect, and Pat Perez and Duffner is going to add some excitement. There's a lot of groupings.
Yeah, we have a lot of our guys playing. Colt Knost is playing, Martin Pillar, Chris Stroud, Andrew Landry, and Russell Knox, my brother, he's playing with Martin Laird. So it's the Scottish guys together this week.
All Scottish guys, and I know I'm not even supposed to say this because I'm so against the walk-up music they're having on the first hole. But are they going to do some sort of a Scottish thing? Is that what they're going to do? I
spoke to Russell and he was like, I'm leaving it up to Martin. I don't even care. But he said, I think like Proclaimers 500 miles. We need to talk about that because, there's so many things that the tour are doing these days to maybe make golf a little bit more entertaining. And we spoke about that around the 16th hole at the Phoenix Open. And, you've got the 17th at the Players coming up in a few weeks. They're doing walk-up music on the weekend for these players. And from what you've said, I'm guessing you're not the biggest fan of that idea.
Well, it's confusing, right? I mean, okay, whatever. They're going to do this walk-up music, and, they've been doing this in baseball for the last 100 years, right? So way to go, Tour. Way to catch up to the 20th century. I mean, I can watch my nephew play soccer in Australia in Wagga Wagga on the internet live, but I can't see anyone on the tour live. I mean, are you kidding me? I said, forget the music, put a camera on the tee. Let me see these guys tee off. That would be better.
That's a good point. Are we going to see that with the music? Are we even going to get to see every single pairing tee off on the weekend?
I got a feeling that the tour is going to clip every one of them and just jam it down the PGA Tour on Twitter until the lights go out. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And also, I was saying there that Russell doesn't really care. He was like, Martin can pick it. I'm guessing with Jason Duffner and Pat Perez, we know that Pat loves his music. And you were saying that Duff, he's like, yeah, Pat can pick the song. I don't care about it either.
Yeah, I know Duff doesn't care for sure. And he's going to be sitting over there on the side, waiting for Perez. He would bobbing his head. He'll have some sort of Iron Maiden or something going. And it's going to be embarrassing. And knowing Perez, whatever he can make it the most embarrassing for everyone else, that's what he's going to go with. I should text him and ask him what it is, but then he would mock me for asking him about music because he said, "What do you care? You wouldn't do it." So, it's very confusing, Diane, because there's players that are that are upset that there's the gallery's making noise,
Yeah.
and they're getting people thrown out of the event for yelling things. But then on the other hand, at the Ryder Cup recently, they encouraged the crowd to go crazy while they teed off, right? Ian Poulter, Bubba Watson, they wanted the crowd to yell. 16th hole, they want them to yell, and now they want them to be quiet. To me, it's very confusing for the fan because it seems on different events they can't make up their mind what the tour wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with that. If you were playing and you were forced to pick a song, what one would you pick?
That's the trick question. I'd probably play with Greg Norman or someone like that. We'd do an Australian thing, and I'd let him do it.
Like Men at Work, Down Under?
Oh, that's probably not going to happen. Maybe Linda Ronstadt, or I'd go the opposite. Go Yanni. Do a Yanni trumpet blast or something. Just go completely off the scene the other way.
Go unexpected. That's very
don't make
funny.
don't make it predictable.
So funny. Right, Elk, thank you so much. We're going to be excited to watch the tournament this weekend. And of course, I know you're going to be on Twitter a lot talking about the course and the design of the course. And hopefully we have a good tournament.
Yes. Thanks, Diane. It was great to talk to Andrew Landry. He was picked by almost every single person except the media to win this year. Every insider, and of course, Secret Golf is all about being inside, and we all knew, and no one else knew, but we did, Diane. We did it again, number 16.
Did it again. We were talking about that in the office actually just a few days before the Texas Open last week, because Andrew's had some really good scores and he's been up that leaderboard a lot. And, at the RBC Heritage the week before, he was our top performing Secret Golf guy. And we all said that win is definitely coming for him soon.
And who do you think is going to be next?
Russell
You'll have
Knox.
to stay tuned. Russell Knox could be. I don't even know if I want him to win this one. I want him to win a single one, right, by himself.
Yeah, I want him to win the Players.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Of course, we've got the Players coming up in a few
good.
weeks. So we're going to be talking about that. We'll be doing some podcasts and stuff around the Players in the next couple of weeks. But the last year that the Players Championship is going to be in May. Next year it goes back to March. And when you won it, of course, both times it was in March.
That's going to be a whole different ball game in March, Diane. The wind's going to be blowing from a different direction. The turf won't be as lush, and the players are going to be in for a completely different golf course at Sawgrass. And I think it's going to be a better event. It's going to be much tougher. The scores, we're going to be probably single digits, back the way it was when in the 90s when it was in March.
Okay, as I said, we've got all that coming up in the next few weeks. But thank you, Elk.
Thanks, Diane.
So great to get Elk's insight into TPC Louisiana. Who better than to speak to than one of the guys who designed and built the course. It's going to make for a fun tournament this week. And with the format, of course, of the teams. I love the fact that we've got Jason Duffner and Pat Perez, who are a team together. And Elk compared them to a couple of wrestlers in a WWE SmackDown. Lovely. I've got this great image in my head and I can't get rid of it now. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more, and especially the fact that the players at the weekend are going to have walk-on music. So they get to pick a song that they're introduced to, I guess, like WWE wrestlers. And I'm joined by one of my colleagues here at Secret Golf, Jay Kaplan.
Hi, Diane.
Back on the podcast.
I know, finally. I thought I was banned, or I thought I had done something wrong. You sequestered me in an office, but now you let me out, so thanks.
The players that have to pick these walk-on tracks, and we heard from Elk, who is not a big fan of the idea. He thinks it's kind of over-the-top entertainment that is confusing to the golf fans.
It probably is. Look, this is an entertainment thing, right? Mm-hmm. And let's look at it from a big picture. New Orleans, that event has been sort of moved around on the schedule over the years. It used to be right before the Masters, so it was the last chance to make the Masters. And then Houston took that spot. New Orleans moved. I think they feared that maybe they wouldn't have a decent field, so they changed the format. The team thing's super cool. Mm-hmm. And why not spice it up with a little loud music at the first tee? And
as Alex said, the players seem to like it. You have the 4 major champions playing this week in the Zurich Classic.
And, I mean, let's be honest. If you're going to do this, isn't New Orleans like the place to do it?
It's
I
the
mean,
fun place.
it does make it seem like let the good times roll kind of place. So I think it's a great idea. I think it's fun. I'm a sports fan in general, so for me, Elk mentioned wrestling. I love wrestling.
Okay.
I've always loved wrestling.
What about Jason Duffner and Pat Perez?
Phenomenal group, especially for us because they're both secret golfers. But of course, now my thing with those two is they kind of march to the beat of their own drum.
Uh-huh.
So when I was thinking of songs for each team, I'm like, okay, I could go anywhere with this. So to me, in my mind, they're kind of the outcasts. So I started going back through my library of outcast songs, and there's too many. So I passed on them. So I made a whole list of things that I thought these two could walk up to, and imagine at the first tee, all these people.
Because we don't know. I wanted to ask Pat Perez, but Elk was like, no, because if I go and ask him, he's going to be like, why do you care about this?
Yeah, I think Pat would probably give it back to Elk.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
what's your deal? Why do you even care?
Okay, but we're going to make some predictions
Mm-hmm.
on what songs we think some of these pairings might walk out to.
Okay, so I know recently Duffner with his hat, he had a Biggie Smalls hat on.
Yeah.
I'm not going there with this, although I do think that is probably on their short list, something from Notorious B.I.G. But my short list for them was Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. I think that would be an easy one.
Pat, I think with Pat, it had to be like hardcore rock music.
Yeah, like I've got metal songs left and right for them. Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses. There were 3 AC/DC songs, Hell's Bells, Big Balls, and Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap. I think that's pretty obvious. And I did have one rap song, Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, Natural Born Killers.
Okay, Killers.
However, I finally settled on the pick.
Uh-huh.
And because of the wrestling theme and me being a huge wrestling fan, the best wrestling intro song out there is Triple H's The Game, who was sung by Motorhead. Lemmy wrote that song for The Game. So my pick for Jason Duffner and Pat Perez, The Game by Motorhead. Makes total sense.
I like that.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to look at another one of the big pairings for the tournament in general, and Ryan Palmer being our guy of interest, but he's playing with Jordan Spieth for the second year.
He is, and that's a Texas twosome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge country music fan, but I can appreciate it.
I know that Jordan likes the Randy Rogers band to do the Secret Golf theme tune.
Yeah, it's not going to be that. I think that's our walk-up music. We claim that.
We're keeping it.
And we can't have people doubling down on our music. So George Jones, Willie Nelson, Roy Orbison, they're all Texans. George Strait had a great song, All My Exes Live in Texas. I don't think that they're going to actually walk up to that. I would hope not. There was a sneaky one I found. Do you like Sly and the Family Stone?
Yes.
You know, okay. Gonna Take You Higher. That was the runner-up. But my pick for these two Texans is one of 2 songs by ZZ Top.
Oh.
Sharp Dressed Man,
Okay.
which would be a good one, and LaGrange, which was about a brothel outside of LaGrange, Texas. So if nobody's really listening to the lyrics, it's such a phenomenal song and a cool song. That's my pick. Either one of those for those two.
I wish we could play, by the way, in case you don't know, you're not allowed to play any songs on podcasts.
You can't, but get me, you coerced me by saying you would sing 30 seconds of each song that I pick. So go.
Well, no, then you said you're not allowed to do that either.
That's
So I didn't
true.
warm up my vocal cords appropriately.
True.
Let's go with my brother, Russell Knox and Martin Laird, the 2 Scotsmen together.
In a word, shameful. They've already made their pick.
Well,
Do you know what it is?
Russell said to me that he wasn't picking. He was going to leave it up to Martin.
Well, I would say that too if I made this particular pick.
Mm-hmm.
But it's shameful what they've done.
Why?
Because they picked a song that is so stereotypical.
I don't know if they've picked it. It's the Proclaimers and 500 Miles.
No, that's not it.
Oh.
No, but that was on my list. Like, obviously.
Yeah. Do you want me to name some Scottish bands and see what?
Go for it. I have a list
Okay.
of songs, but go for it.
Big Country on there.
Yep, great song.
Deacon Blue.
I don't have it on my list.
Wet, Wet, Wet.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are they on the list?
Yep.
Okay. Let me think of some. What's her name? Lulu.
Lulu is not on my list.
Sheena Easton.
Should have been Sheena Easton. Which Sheena Easton song?
Sheena Easton. I don't know about any Sheena Easton because she went from a Scottish accent to an Americanized accent, which both of them have done too.
Do you know why? She got under the wing of Prince.
Oh.
And Prince turned her into one of his proteges.
It's a good wing to be under.
It is under, right? Okay, so
okay.
you're missing the runner-up. My pick is a runner-up.
Run Rig.
No. Bay City Rollers.
Oh, Shang-a-Lang. Shang-a-Lang.
Bye Bye Baby.
Okay.
Shang-a-Lang. Any of those, because they made tartan cool somehow. And to be honest with you, I had no idea they were Scottish.
Really?
Like, when I was little, they were on a lot here. I had no idea. I thought they were like from California. I thought they were supposed to be like a made-for-TV boy band. So they have actually picked Flower of Scotland, but the bagpipe-only version.
How do you know this?
Who wants to hear that?
How do you know that?
I've got people.
Really?
Yeah.
The thing is, Flower of Scotland is the national anthem of Scotland. But you need the words. And there's a much better song they could have picked called Caledonia.
Okay.
Which is very emotive. And that would have been a better one in my opinion.
I thought Scottish people were fun.
Yeah.
I thought they would come out with something fun. Like, even... I found Simple Minds, that song. Simple Minds, right?
Live and Kicking.
Yeah, they're from Scotland.
Don't You Forget About Me.
That's it. You could do that, right? And that would actually make sense. So what I did was to try to hip them up just a little bit, ditch the unofficial Scottish right, anthem, and go with a Franz Ferdinand song.
Franz Ferdinand.
Oh,
Take Me Out?
You could do that, or I like Do You Want To.
Okay.
Have you heard that one?
Yeah. I was going to sing it there, but I'm not allowed to.
That's my pick for them because, good God, your brother needs help with some music stuff.
I worked in radio for most of my career, and let's just say we're opposites in many, many ways.
Yeah, I was going to say,
you
may want to keep that under wraps when you're talking about him.
Oh, so Andrew Landry was on the podcast earlier. He was the Texas Open winner last week. He's playing with Taylor Gooch.
The Gooch.
What would they pick?
So Gooch is from Oklahoma. Taylor's from Texas, but Andrew Landry, sorry. So Landry gets to pick because he's coming off a W.
He's the winner.
He went to Arkansas.
Okay.
You know who's from Arkansas? Johnny Cash.
Oh, wow.
I Walk the Line.
That would be great.
That's the most... I'm sorry, that was an alert that I was correct. So it's I Walk the Line, Johnny Cash for Andrew Landry and Taylor Gooch.
Chris Stroud is teaming up with Brian Stewart.
What can I
There's
say
a lot of
about
Texans here that you need to cover.
There are a lot, but so Stewart, here's a little known fact. He won in New Orleans 2 years ago.
Oh, I knew he'd won somewhere. I wasn't sure.
Right. So he's like this sneaky underdog, and I feel like he's kind of a remember me kind of guy.
He was playing really well at the RBC a few weeks ago.
He did. He's actually a very good player, and Stroud's one of our guys, so we always pull for him. But with Stewart, I'm like, wait a second, remember me. So I started to think of songs about champions, right? So I came up with Eminem had a song, Remember Me. Queen is an easy one. We Are the Champions. Kanye, your boy Yeezy has Champion. But then I came across one of the all-time great videos. Do you know Manny Pacquiao?
Yes, the boxer.
He's a sort of a Renaissance man, politician, but many people know him as a musician. And he has a song called Champion Sa Kantahan. Please Google the video. But that's the song I'm picking for these two. For Stroud and Stewart is a Manny Pacquiao song. It just makes total sense.
If they do walk out to Manny Pacquiao with no hint from you, I'll give you $100.
I'm in.
Martin Pillar and Joel Damon.
This is easy too because Damon is from Washington State. Pillar's probably on fumes because they're expecting
at like any day now.
Moment.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he's even out playing, I'm wondering if Drina even knows he's left because he really should be home, but I'm not going to say anything. I went with a band from Washington State who made that grunge sound.
Okay.
And it's Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, for two reasons. One, it's just a phenomenal song, and that gets you hyped up. Two, there's a lullaby version of it for Martin.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he can.
So if they
there's
win,
one for each guy.
Yeah, they could put their new baby to sleep to that song when it arrives.
You got it.
And finally, Colt Knost and Ricky Barnes.
One word for you. Gravy.
Big gravy.
Big gravy. So I love Beck. He's one of my all-time favorite musicians, and Beck has a song called Nicotine and Gravy. So Colt Noss, this one's for you, brother. Bring it home, Nicotine and Gravy.
So we've covered all of our Secret Golf guys, but are there any other notable pairings? We should say that some of the songs have been released online, but any other pairings with some great anthems?
There's a whole mixture. This is the fun part about this. There's like a whole mixture of songs. So, for example, you're going to hear a lot of Metallica, Enter Sandman, For Whom the Bell Tolls. You're going to hear a lot of AC/DC. You're also going to hear some off the grid, off the radar picks. Retief Goosen and Tyrone Van Aswegen. Asbergen. I know, it's tough. They're coming out to Toto's Africa.
I love that song.
I'm sure you do. Cody Gribble and John Peterson. I will give you $100 if you can guess what they're walking out to. And don't look at my notes.
The Spice Girls and Wannabe.
Close. In the ballpark. Same country. They're coming out to Careless Whisper.
By George Michael.
Yeah, that's right.
That doesn't really get you pumped up.
No, I'm hoping it's sort of like
a joke?
Because they want to be fun and not serious. I hope not.
That's a very serious song.
I know, but my hope was, and I know it wasn't a Wham song, but they would come out in matching T-shirts.
Can you please turn your watch off when we are recording?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
We also have probably my favorite pick, Harold Varner III and Robert Garrigus.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Mr. Varner is African-American. Garrigus is not. And they have chosen to come out to the classic Ebony and Ivory.
That is fantastic.
That is fantastic.
That's going to be an
so
exciting
kudos
moment.
to them for having fun.
Having fun, because really that's what these song picks are all about. Hey, Jay, I've got an idea. When you were talking about all of that, I've actually put Russell's phone number in the system. I think we should give him a call, see if he answers. I know he was playing a practice round this morning, but then we can ask him what's going on with his song pick for him and Martin Laird representing Scotland.
Hello?
Hello. Right, we just want to talk. We're doing a podcast about the Zurich and we were talking about song picks.
Russell, I've been wearing you out, dude.
There we go.
For your pick.
So we know what you guys picked. Did you pick it or did Martin pick it?
I picked it. Martin, we both weren't like overly concerned about picking a song, so he left it to me, and I was like, you know what? We're both Scottish. It has to be some kind of bagpipe music. So I typed into like Google. I was like bagpipe songs, and then the first one that came up was Flower of Scotland bagpipe music.
So
I was like, this is perfect.
Russell, I said, Diane, he can't have anything with bagpipes. It's too stereotypical. We got to come up with something. Something for him. I got a whole list of Scottish. So we went back and forth on it.
We looked at some better versions of Flower of Scotland that you could use. Maybe some involving the lyrics, because this is just an acoustic, musical bagpipe version of Scotland's national anthem.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Straight up bagpipes. No, the thing is to affect other players and be like, ooh, there's the nice bagpipe music, and so yeah. I mean, I you need to be calm. You don't want to be too pumped up in golf. You know, you need to be relaxed.
So no Bay City Rollers, no Big Country, no
Run Rig.
What else do we say?
Run Rig.
No,
Run Rig.
Just I mean, the second choice was Proclaimers, 500 miles.
Yeah,
that would have been decent, but there was talks of some Braveheart music, but it's obviously very slow, and so I decided on Flower of Scotland bagpipes.
And I feel like you're doing Scotland a bit of a duty here, because you can hopefully educate some other people on the national anthem of our homeland.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously Martin and I are the only two Scottish players on the PGA Tour, so I mean, people are going to expect good Scottish music from us, and we're going to
pull through with good old bagpipes.
Excellent. I love it. There's good reasoning behind that. Now we found out.
I'll give you the good reasoning. All I'm asking you to do is maybe just for a minute consider, something a little more contemporary, maybe of this century or something like that. But that's all right. Look, you want to rep your homeland. I totally can respect that. And I think what you said is you kind of want to give your opponents a false sense of security. Like, oh, yeah, nice Scottish guys, and then go beat the hell out of them. So that's a pretty good strategy.
Like William Wallace.
I mean, hey, a good Flower of Scotland national anthem at, say, like a rugby game or whatever, that pumps everyone up. So there's no reason why it can't pump Martin and I up.
Yeah, it's emotive. See, that gets everyone going. So I agree, actually. I agree.
Oh, he's swayed you.
He swayed me.
Because I'm telling you, Russell, like 20 minutes ago, she was killing you. She was like, why is he doing that? I said, I have a whole list of alternatives if he wants them.
Yeah, I think they're only doing it on the weekends as well. So
yes,
there's going to be some unhappy people if they don't make the cut. They won't get to play their music.
Yeah, exactly. They've gone to all this effort to pick it. Well, it's not going to be an issue for you and Martin. So your song will be playing. Just get them to turn it up really loudly at the weekend.
Exactly. So no, we're looking forward to it. So. There's going to be some party ones. Sure.
And we're trying to guess. Pat Perez won't tell us. Elk was going to speak to him, but Pat and Duffner, Elk's like, they're going to pick some like WWE wrestling anthem to walk out to.
That'd be funny, yeah, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, like the glass breaking.
That'll be so funny.
That's right, the Steve Austin.
Oh gosh,
yeah.
Right.
The Rock's one would be good. If you
that's
well,
right.
Jay was like, what was Triple H?
Triple H's theme song, which is a Motorhead song. I'm like, I think that's probably what they'll walk out to. They'll do like a Motorhead theme.
Yeah, good. Right, thank you so much. Good luck to you and Martin this week as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks,
bye.
Man.
Yeah, bye.
So these walkout songs they're going to play over the weekend. So obviously the teams have to make the cut. Hopefully all of our above will, and we get to hear some fantastic music over the weekend at the Zurich Classic.
And whoever wins, Diane will sing 30 seconds of their walk-up song.
Okay.
And DM anybody.
I'll risk our podcast license being taken away.
No, we'll DM. You can just DM
all
it
right.
to people.
Nobody
by
wants
request.
That. Excellent. Right, thank you so much for listening. We will have another Secret Golf podcast next week.